Yeah, hey guys, welcome to the Big Blue United podcast. My name is TJ. I'm here with Dan and Colin. How y'all feeling tonight?
I feel like I could go for a bologna sandwich right now, to be honest.
Yeah, they're not that bad. I just heard this news recently.
Yeah, I mean, I miss it. It's been. Remember when we used to eat those like really crappy sandwiches as a child, and you thought they were like the coolest thing ever?
Yeah, well, I used to bargain with you. I used to give you my half a Fluffernutter sandwich for everything you had every time I stayed over at my dad's house.
Yep, I could picture sitting at the table and trying to convince you to take whatever. Sorry, Mom, when you hear this, I wasn't very happy with some of the lunches you made in sixth grade.
She's going to be devastated.
Yeah, she's coming over for Easter this Sunday. I'll
your relationship will never recover from this.
You can't compete with a Fluffernutter sandwich that your recently divorced dad makes for you.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah, that's the divorced dad special. The Fluffernutter sandwich.
Here, you want candy for lunch, dude?
I haven't gotten to the point in my fatherdom where my daughter is eating bologna sandwiches. But the one thing, when I had a kid, I was hoping that I would get to eat like chicken fingers and all kinds of gross food that I'm not supposed to eat anymore. And then she doesn't eat meat; just doesn't do it.
Oh wow, interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. It's okay. Huh. She'll come around.
Yeah,
I just want
that generation, man. It's a new generation. They're not eating meat. From 3 years old, they already know.
My generation
came out a vegan or whatever. Now she eats eggs all the time.
The wokest 3-year-old.
That's a beautiful thing. Saving the planet before she knows it.
She's the new Greta Thunberg. Whatever it is.
Sure.
From Brooklyn now.
Brooklyn. Yeah. As usual, guys, please follow Big Blue United on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Follow Big BBU Pod Boys with a Z on Twitter. The Pigskin Pod Network at the Pigskin Pod Net on Twitter. Download that DraftKings app. Use promo code TPPN. Our sponsor this week is Wilson, a brand I believe we're all familiar with. They make the football, the Duke, named after our late great owner, Wellington Mara. They sent us some really nice stuff out of their new Tailgate sportswear line. I got my state cardigan on, which is not something I normally would rock, but it's really well made. I really love it. I know you guys are also wearing a couple items today. Dan, tell me about that jacket you got on.
Yeah, dude.
I'm loving this one.
Check this thing out. This is hang
on. Here you go. For everybody at home. Look at
nice.
How handsome this guy is right here.
Yeah, thanks for doxing my house, dude.
Everybody knows now.
Yeah, house.
Yeah, they're gonna find it.
No, this is really good. I'm always cold in my old house that doesn't have great heat, so this is a nice thing to pop on. If I was to go out and socialize with human beings, I'd also wear this. It's just a really comfortable, understated, sort of versatile jacket. I'm very pleased with it.
It's the Central Varsity jacket. Yeah,
that's right.
It's a nice
collar. It matches my hat exactly. I want to say, TJ, that sweater looks quite becoming on you.
It's really comfortable. It's not normally a color I would wear, but it's my wedding anniversary on Monday. We're going to go out Sunday, and we're going to go to like a semi-formal, casual type thing, and I'm going to rock the cardigan, I think.
TGI Fridays.
So we're not.
Applebee's. No, I think I'm going to. I know we talked about trading, Colin, but I'm going to hang on to mine. But what do you think about the stuff you got?
Well, I like this top a lot. It's one of those kind of things where it's that in between casual and formal. I mean, it's good. I would say it's good for like, going to see some family on an Easter.
It's like when you're in the front row at the Leonard Skinner concert.
I'm gonna break down what
you want to look good, but you're hammer drunk.
No, it's in between informal and formal in the sense that like you're going to see family on an Easter holiday or something. You'd wear something like this, and you'd be comfortable. You're not wearing a suit. But you're comfortable. It's casual but nice.
It's tailgate chic is what it is.
And you know what's cool about it? On the patch itself here, the Wilson patch, it is straight football leather right there.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice. I like that.
That is cool.
I like that.
Yeah. I dig it. It's cool.
It looks like you're cosplaying as me.
I know. I feel like you should have bought this hat years ago. I'm surprised you didn't.
I'd love that hat.
I know. When I got it, I was like, I know Dan's gonna like this hat.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in addition to the different tops we also got the Dearborn tailgate pants, which are cool. I know Dan loves them because they're easy to move in, quick drying, water resistant, and I like it because there's a pocket there to carry your beer in, which is always important during a tailgate. You got to keep focus on what's on the prize during a tailgate.
Yeah, and I envision I don't hike very often, but I feel like they're perfect hiking pants too. So I'm kind of pumped on that because you don't want to ruin pants when you're going to hike somewhere. So I think they're good and they've got some strength to them, some strength.
Some
Yeah.
strength and some give. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
hard to strike that balance when you're trying to do like somewhat physical activity outside. You can't really wear sweatpants. Sweatpants
Nah.
are too much. You can be nimble in these things. You can
With
you can move
pockets,
around.
zippers, and everything.
Yeah.
And the shorts I'm pumped on. I haven't worked out in them yet, but I plan to. I think they're going to be good for gym wear. So
Mm.
I'll report back on those. But they look pretty
Those
sweet.
double day shorts that we all got, I feel are good swimwear too. Actually, I think I might rock it as a
100%.
bathing suit in the summertime.
Yeah.
The ultimate hybrid
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
from the water to the barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you guys, Wilson is a huge brand. Check them out. Definitely if you're in New York City area, they have their flagship store on 594 Broadway in Soho. It has all their best equipment, their new sports line wear. There's a park in there where you can try out all this stuff. They got like a tennis court. They can demo golf clubs, play
So
catch,
cool.
shoot hoops,
Yeah.
a bunch of other cool stuff. I would go online, check it out. And if you're in the New York City area, go check out Wilson. And thank you for all these beautiful clothing. I'm going to wear it with at every moment I can, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm a white cardigan man now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you don't get it. It looks great. You never thought it would. It looks great.
This cardigan's fundamentally changed TJ's personality.
I just
It's
feel like a whole different
incredible.
person now.
Well,
yeah.
For a little backstory, it's been black clothing for about 20 years. So I think this is it's like a rift in the a space-time continuum here.
I got a white cardigan on. I got a blue hat, and I also, while I'm here, I can't unbuckle. I got my neck scars T-shirt on
Oh,
too.
Whoa.
there it is.
wow.
I'm here for everybody today,
Yeah.
not just
Nice.
myself. All right, I know we probably rambled on far too long there for everyone's liking, but Giants news real quick, guys. Giants have signed offensive tackle Roy Mbitika. Maybe
I think that's a safe way to say it. I've not heard it said out loud yet.
feels good to say it.
yeah.
But anyway, he's a guy from Nigeria, NFL Africa, mentor by Osi Umenyiora. Just looking at the tangibles here: 6'9", 320, 22 years old, big man. Colin, I know you got some stuff to talk about our boy Roy M. Lay it on to us.
I mean, just starting from OC, it's always good to see him in the news. And I don't know if anybody has kind of followed his career. He lives in London now. He works for the NFL office over there, and he's also branching out and basically starting NFL Africa in terms of a pathway program, places to scout talent and develop and possibly bring into this international program that we've talked about, and it's been used over the last couple of years to much success here and there, depending on the team and the player. Hopefully, Sandro Platzgummer ends up, developing a little bit for us, which would be really sweet. But yeah, this guy it's one of those typical situations where pure talent, pure raw, just hardly played the game. There's no leagues down there, so it's kind of. He was playing basketball for a while, and someone who was teaching one of the camps kind of threw out there, have you thought about football? You have the size for it. And he's just like, I mean, I'll try anything. Sure, I'll check it out. And he just took to it. And the one thing that I took away from reading up on him, especially from OC's point of view, is that he's an incredibly smart player. He's picked up schemes and been able to answer very important coaching questions, drawing up on the whiteboard kind of thing, and then answering the right way, that's the biggest thing. If you have the physical tools and you're able to put it together with your intellect and understanding the game, then, I mean, you can shoot right up and find yourself a job really quick. So, and he already has. I mean, I think I forgot what he was in like California or something. They flew him to Jersey, interviewed him briefly.
Out in Arizona.
Oh, Arizona.
Working
with
LaCharles Bentley with two other prospects. And the Giants were out
LaCharles Bentley.
Haven't heard
That's
that
a
name
name we haven't
forever.
heard in a while.
LaCharles Bentley. Yeah.
Wow.
He worked out there, showing what they got, and they flew him to Jersey and signed him.
Yeah. Hey, and with the line that we have right now, it's kind of like take the Flyers, see what happens. He can develop. He's got some good coaching in front of him. And I'm excited about it. I feel like a player like that, you have more of a chance of succeeding with a lineman than you do with a skill player. And I'm not sure why that is, but it just seems that's kind of the going rate in the league, at least at this point. So,
Well, you can't teach size, right?
no, that's a fact.
But
So,
Colin, are you concerned that he might be too tall? 6'9".
I mean, that's
Very tall.
he's not playing guard. I'll tell you that much. He is a bookend guy. He's playing right tackle or left tackle, and that's it.
Should play field goal blocker.
I mean,
I'm sure you'll see him on special teams before you see him anywhere else.
he'll 100% be playing special teams, which I can't
right
wait.
in the middle.
Why not?
I mean, who knows? We don't know anything about him. I mean, he could be incredibly athletically gifted at that size, and you think if you're gonna, come in from another continent, work out and get signed right away by an NFL team when you have zero experience playing football at all, then, like Colin said before, I did read stuff about the football IQ. So obviously the athleticism has to be there too. Yeah. Otherwise they wouldn't give him a shot. But I'm just curious. This is a really fun one, and I'm curious to see what happens. And I'm curious what the NFL transition for him will be like, because he could get cut in training camp, easy. Or he could, flourish and have a high ceiling. Whatever. It'll be interesting to watch for sure.
Can't wait.
Do we know wingspan?
I don't think I saw that.
There's not a whole lot of information about him, just simply because I don't think it's really available yet.
Yeah, no, for sure.
There's no metrics, there's none of those advanced statistics or combine or pro or senior day. There's nothing. So
and
we'll find out.
Just to add too on top of it, I mean, that tweet that I sent you from OC, I mean, it was a pretty emotional kind of process for him, because this guy's from OC's home country, Nigeria. It's a big deal to him to be able to funnel future talent out of there, and I couldn't be prouder of him and what his post career has developed into. It's cool to see him as an ambassador to other continents for the sport. It's just great. So.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago, and like we said, just bringing in guys from other countries is the best way to grow the brand elsewhere. So,
absolutely,
as Africa sort of, what do I want to say here, becomes like more developing nations or become more developed, the money will be there for the consumers to want to like pump into the, brand into the league. We see that like NBA in China and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't articulate that as well as I could have, but you know what I'm talking about.
Absolutely.
We're going to continue this week with a little draft preview. So this week we're going to do defensive front seven. Start just at the top of the draft in the first round, obviously at 5 or 7. Edge rusher has been something that Giants have been mocked into and obviously will be pursuing because it's a huge area of need. At the top of the draft, we've seen a lot of Hutchinson and Thibodeau talk. I don't think we need to spend too much time on Hutchinson. He'll be gone, probably first overall pick or second, you would imagine.
Yeah.
But the few things to mention about him, he's got a really high motor. He's a football player, locker room guy, high IQ, high integrity. Could be a future coach even, but definitely the best pass rusher in the draft this year. But let's move. Don't forget about the motor. You're gonna hear about his motor on draft day. I can assure you.
He loves the sport. He loves the sport.
And just know the reason we're not really talking about him at all is because we know damn well we're not getting him. So it's not even worth it.
If he's there at 5, I mean, you take him, but he won't be.
Well,
go ahead, Dan.
I was going to say that there's a rumor that just floated a couple minutes ago, I think, on Twitter, that the Jaguars really, really like Trayvon Walker.
I've heard that too.
See that? I don't know. I don't know if that's smokescreen or not, but they love his raw talent and speed. I think they brought him in. They really, really like him a lot. There's a lot of talk about that. I don't know if that's, again, strategy or not, but people say like his measurements, his physical attributes and whatever times and whatever metrics are better than anyone's ever seen. It's a combination that's very rare, but his production has just not matched it.
Well,
I mean, look at the numbers. He ran a 4.5 40 at 300 pounds. And I read that he could put on more weight and not lose a step. So that's just like
that's pretty
the first time we'll say freakish athleticism in this podcast.
300 pounds? I thought, was that earlier in his college career, or is he coming out at that?
No, he is just a ridiculous athlete.
They
and
say
it's
he's
ridiculously fast for his size.
6'5", 275.
Okay.
I have 6'3", 300 pounds here, but I guess we're depending on where you read it. It's going to be
Two
No,
different people.
either way.
I did read that he did come into college heavier and then dropped weight and got faster, and but hey, 275 is huge. So
At a
Oh
4'5".
wait, no, I'm sorry, Dan. I wrote it down wrong. I had Jordan Davis's number. I'll think about it. Yeah.
that makes more sense.
But still, 275, 6'5", running a 4.5 40 is nuts.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the thing with him is just very boomer bust. So I think it's like taking a chance there because he has a lot of experience, but still super raw.
Well, it's just the production was not there.
Yeah, as you mentioned.
In season.
It's kind of worrying in itself. I mean, the intangibles are all good and fine, but if you're not doing anything with it, I don't know. The Jags are screwing a lot of things up. Let's have them screw this up too.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, so let's just ask about Thibodeau. Do you like Thibodeau better than Walker? And if Thibodeau's there at 5, you guys pull the trigger or no, Dan?
Yes. I take Kayvon Thibodeau at 5 immediately. I think he's got a unique skill set. He's very, very athletic. He is gonna create pressure on the quarterback and start right away. That's the sort of talent you can't pass up for a team that needs edge rusher. There's no better option. I think for me, I would even, if I was really getting in the weeds and knew what I was talking about, I think a lot of people also agree there's a discussion between him and Hutchinson. They're two different flavors of a pass rusher. They're very different players, but I still think that he's arguably the best edge rusher in the draft.
And the most confident too, that's for sure.
Nothing wrong with that. I never had a problem with that.
And I agree too, 100%. If he's there at 5, we're taking him. And if we don't, shame on us or trade down.
I know we're doing edge rushers, but if Neal and Thibodeau are both there at 5, who do you take?
Thibodeau.
Yeah, I agree.
And then take one of the other tackles at 7.
Yep.
Interesting, because I might be on the fence there, but I mean, with Thibodeau, I agree with everything you guys say, and I like his versatility too. I'll add in there because he can play, with his hand down or standing up. The only thing about him is his production. Only having 6 sacks last year is a little low for someone who you might consider to be potentially the best or second best pass rusher in the draft this year. But yeah, I'm with you guys. If he's there at 5, I think the upside is too high to not take him.
And what's interesting too, of drafts in the past and us discussing them and having our opinions and stuff like that. I don't know if we've ever been so in lockstep for the most part of how we want this to go and like who we take at which spot. I don't know if it's ever been like that, especially Dan, you and I. Usually we differ, especially early on in the draft, but I feel like we're right there.
Well, there's just certain non-negotiables with this team right now and how depleted it is. Like we have to have an offensive lineman and we sort of have to have an edge rusher.
Agreed.
It's the sort of the positions of need and the best player available are lining up a lot.
Yeah.
Especially in the early part of this draft, which I think is part of the reason why there's more of a consensus this year than other years. At the top of the draft, though, guys, anyone else you would consider, or if the Giants did end up moving back either at 5 or 7 to a mid or late first round, anybody else in the first round, whether it's an edge rusher, defensive tackle, linebacker prospect that you guys like? Colin, I want to start with you.
Yeah, it's actually not one that I intended on talking about because I wasn't really thinking in terms of, I was thinking either top or way later. But if it, for some reason we were sticking with defense, and we went in the teens or maybe even early, probably not even early 20s. Devin Lloyd, linebacker, would be an interesting pick. I feel like that's an incredibly high talented kind of character that, I mean, if nothing else, are we really going to go another year without drafting a linebacker in the first round since Carl Banks? I mean, come on. I almost, for the sake of it, almost want to be in a situation where it makes sense for us to do that because of just to break that streak. But yeah, not to change position groups completely, but if we're trading down, you know who I want. Lindenbaum, but we're not talking about linemen anymore.
You said you wanted him last week.
I know, but that's the one guy. If we trade down, like more than anything else, I would want. Uh,
I like Devin Lloyd too. I mean, on the weak side, he projects as a weak side linebacker.
Yeah.
Rush the pass. He's got great coverage ability. I think he has better size than someone who I think is the better player at the similar position, which is Nakobe Dean. I guess Nakobe Dean lines more of a inside. I actually think that Lloyd might end up at the beginning of the second, and if he lasts until there, I'd say pull the trigger because that's a good value. But I even like Nakobe Dean in the middle of the first. Just like a prototypical modern inside linebacker, he can rush the passer from the outside, inside, can cover like a corner almost. Just a super versatile guy. I think it'd be a fun one for Wink to move around in that defense. He is small though, 5'11", 229. So that's your biggest concern. But I don't think at this stage of what the NFL is turning into in terms of what the passing and run ratios are, what types of runs people are doing, that necessarily having a better coverage linebacker next to a guy like Blake Martinez who can't cover and is just a tackling machine, I think it's a good complement to a player that's already on the roster. Not necessarily I'd say that I would go there at 18, 19, 20, whatever it might be, but definitely a player that's interesting to me and could have a lot of upside as a coverage linebacker.
I those are very good points. I don't like how many linebackers are rated high that all have their pound ranges in the 220 to 230. I don't like it. It doesn't scream someone that needs to be drafted in the first round. I don't know why. I get it, the change and needing to be able to cover, but I don't know, small, especially 5'11", like that's kind of ridiculous.
I think we're seeing more and more of like this crossover of the safeties that can play linebacker and linebackers that can play safety.
Oh, the Landon Collins type.
Yeah.
No, but Landon Collins is the opposite of that. Like he should be a linebacker and not play safety, you know?
Yeah. But we're seeing that more and more every year. I think we talked about that in a previous pod. And Dean's one of those guys. If you look a little further down at linebackers, Brian Asamoah from Oklahoma, again, is like a super fast, 6 foot tall linebacker running 225 that can cover. Like it's almost like, our monster back from high school, Colin. It's not the traditional, middle inside linebacker or even outside linebacker. These guys are like, and that's just indicative of the league and how much spread offenses are. When there's 4 wide receivers on the field at a time, you can't have like these like glorified, down linemen in the middle of the field anymore. Yeah. So it depends on how creative, again, I think TJ said, like Wink wants to get and how they want to structure it. Is it going to be a team that stops the run first, or are we going to blitz and cover kind of thing?
I feel like Devin Lloyd aside, linebackers second round on is kind of the sweet spot. I think there's a couple of gems out there, and one in which that I like a lot is Darian Beavers from Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. And the reason I like him is he's got the size, he's got the speed, and what have the Giants been awful at doing for pretty much all of our lives? Covering a tight end in the seam. And this guy can actually cover, which is wonderful because he's got the size. He can play the run, but he can also follow whoever's going out there and that maybe actually prevent a first down from happening here and there. So
I don't like his name.
Beavers.
It's kind of funny. I mean, I'm trying to get over that aspect of it, but
it's insane how many Georgia defensive players are in the mix up top.
Yeah,
like
very good.
To do your Darren Beavers, I would take Quay Walker.
Sure.
I think he has a little bit different skill set, but maybe perhaps more upside. 6'4", 240.
That's it.
It's just like you're saying, Colin. Like in that second round, there's a plethora of linebackers. I would say like 6 that would probably be in starting contention rookie year.
Yep.
For our Giants team.
Yeah. Well.
But maybe we're going out of order. I think we're still talking about like first round guys.
It's all right. You could jump around. I mean, I like both those guys too. I think Beavers is a good all around player, but I think his upside is limited. I don't think he might make a Pro Bowl, but he could start. Be a solid solid defensive starter for a long time. Well, I think Quay has a little more interesting qualities to him. Just like has really good ability to rush the passer from the inside linebacker position. He's a great tackler. I mean, he doesn't have a ton of sacks, but 5.5 tackles for a loss, 67 total stops, which is third best on the team from Georgia, which is like a great defense. So having third best on the team is pretty high there. I think, Quay Walker he can't really cover though, which is going to be an issue for him in the NFL.
Fast.
So, his coverage skills are lacking. Not to say they can't be developed.
Yeah.
Not to say none of these things can be developed, but those two guys against each other is interesting. I'd probably go on the side of Quay Walker just because I think the upside is a little bit better. I think he has more ability to learn and transition to the NFL. Whereas Beavers, I think, is going to hit his ceiling pretty quick.
And every time you say Beavers, it makes me laugh.
Beavers. Anybody higher up on the board, you guys?
Yeah, I think
into first round. Anyone want to talk about George Kalafdis? Or
We talked a little about him last week, and I'm turned off. Dan really did it. There's nothing special about the guy. He's in the first round.
He's
and
definitely
that's it.
good. I wouldn't say he's not special, but yeah, he's not an exciting pick. I don't think.
Yeah.
He
He could be. I mean, with a name like that, he could just end up being a great giant. We don't even expect him to be.
I do know his motor is very high. I'm sure of that. 100% sure.
He loves the sport.
Locker room guy, football player.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he's a big dude. He has decent numbers from last year. He seems more versatile, but what I was reading, it's like he's kind of more of a 4-3 end. So I don't know exactly what the Giants are going to be doing, but if we, look at the personnel they have right now, I think the 3-4 is a little better suited. That being said, they could draft a bunch of dudes and change the defensive scheme. So I think it just depends on, kind of where they're going scheme wise and if it makes sense if they trade back or not.
Well, when it comes to especially edge rushers, and this may seem a little backwards, but I would almost rather draft someone who's a little more rounded with the idea of developing the pass rush, who already has the skills to stop the run, than have someone who's just like a fast guy who may or may not get there. He may have been relying on his natural ability against lower talent for the last 4 years, and now all of a sudden he doesn't have his technique there, and he can't stop the run. Well, then that's how you get a guy who's never going to be on the field, like the Jimenez of the world, X-Man. Like, he's a perfect example of someone who played at a small school, did really well, came to the NFL, and hasn't done anything. He can't stop the run. So what's the point? So a player like that, and he kept popping up, and he might be a second rounder I've seen on Bleacher Report. Drake Jackson from USC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. But another all-around kind of guy. Like, he's good at both. And if he stays healthy, that could be a good pick. It's tough. You get the guys who you really like, and there's just that one problem with them. And it's like,
I like Devontae Wyatt for the same reason out of Georgia too. Although he probably isn't going to be standing up on the edge, but more of a DT defensive end in a 3-4. But yeah, can stop the run. And I think has potential to develop that interior pass rush as time moves forward.
Sure.
Colin was talking about more well-rounded guys. About well-rounded, how about Jordan Davis?
Wow.
Talk about rounded.
Yeah.
What I mean, but 6'6", 340.
Where's he going to go? What is he like in?
I don't think he's going to drop past the 20s.
That's what I figure. Yeah.
But we're talking about dropping that 7 to the teens. If we already have the tackle up there, I think an argument to be made as for an impact player immediately, Jordan Davis could be a total game changer. Obviously, there's some risk there with just his enormous size, but he's unparalleled in strength and athletic ability for someone that size. I think some of his lack of production is due to just how deep that defense was and how much they rotated their down linemen. He didn't play like a huge percentage of snaps, but when he did, he was ultra productive. I mean, he can line up in a bunch of different spots on the front. They could put him in the middle. They could put him on the side. I think there's just a lot you can do with him. And immediately right off the bat, offenses are going to have to account for him just based on his pure size and strength.
Do we automatically let him walk in 4 years like we do all the other defensive
Yeah. Linval Joseph.
Yeah, Dalvin Tomlinson.
Jonathan Hankins.
Yeah.
But we let him go faster because he's going to be better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we'll-
definitely
yeah.
don't use him at all. Just
Yeah.
can't pay him. Bye.
I like the guy. He reminds me of like a better Saragusa, just someone who can plug up the middle of that defense and let your
Sure.
linebackers go to work.
Bigger.
But he's a
bigger,
big,
faster.
yeah.
He's way, yeah. It's like the refrigerator Perry, man.
Yeah.
He's huge.
I mean, yeah, the size, skill, and production is interesting. It's definitely unique. You don't see a lot of people like him coming out of college. When I made that comparison, I just like how he takes up space in the middle of the defense.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, he can rush the passer. He does have good numbers: 2 sacks, 4.5 tackles for a loss in his last year, which for an interior lineman are solid in college, especially on a Georgia defense that's loaded with other people. Being disruptive.
he ran a
but yeah.
4.78 40.
4.78. Yeah.
It's faster
crazy.
than Colin.
Yeah. Well, I was 4.7 straight, so I got him.
Maybe Coach Krull was timing you.
Yeah.
He also weighed like 3 of you.
Yeah. Or more at that point.
It's ridiculous.
Could you run that with 3 of you on your back? Or
No.
2 of you on your back?
No. I mean, my legs are strong, but not that strong. I wanted to ask you guys because I read up on him a little bit, but I have not really dug in, and you guys may know a little more than I do about him. Jermaine Johnson, FSU.
Yeah.
What do you feel about him?
I mean, he hasn't played what people consider his natural position from what I was reading for only 1 year. He's more of a hand down defensive end. When they had him standing up, wasn't really his forte. And the only reason he shot up the draft board so much now is because of his last year and how well he played, kind of like the leader of the defense.
Okay.
I'll go back to fitting in the scheme with the Giants. If they're going to run a 3-4, he's not someone they should draft.
Because that's like Kiwanuka all over again, basically.
Yeah, it's just not going to be a guy that you're going to have standing up rushing from the edge with success. But, I think he is a good prospect for a team that's going to run a 4-3. And I think he could go early, top 15, even in, maybe 10 to 12 area, depending. Definitely an interesting player. I think he's good. He's just not for this team.
Yeah, I think that would be a disappointment in a pick, especially at 7. Or even if we traded down into the teens, I would probably not be extremely happy about it. But
I don't want him on the Giants. Yeah.
Wait, I don't understand. Why don't we like him?
I don't think he fits the scheme. I don't think he can. He showed that in college that he can't do his job without his hand in the dirt on the line.
Okay.
Not from the outside.
we need versatility, I think.
Yeah, I would rather have someone who can move around. I mean, I don't dislike him as a player. I think he's potential to be very good in the NFL. I just think that he's going to run into this defense, and if they stick with a 3-4, it's not going to be ideal for his development. Not to say that it can't occur.
Yeah.
You know who I do like though, who's like the biggest boom bust dude is the guy opposite Hutchinson at Michigan, David Ajabo.
Yeah.
Who I've read could basically either be potentially the best edge rusher in this draft or just fall off completely and never really develop in the NFL. Only 1 full season as a pass rusher, unique athletic ability, raw, limited experience, but would fit well into a 3-4. I think, he could last maybe to the 2nd, 3rd round potentially in the beginning.
He got hurt in his pro day, didn't he?
Yeah, that's right. He tore his Achilles, didn't he?
Yeah, so there you go. Of course, he can drop.
So if he drops, and who was like Jalen Smith was a good example of a guy who should have got picked higher, but then got hurt and ended up late. I know they cut him, but he did have a few good years there. I think if he's there later on, I'd say he's a fun guy to pick up if available.
Sure.
The real connection for him to the Giants is that he was born in Nigeria and then grew up in Scotland and moved to New Jersey in high school.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's the Giants' ultimate profile these
days.
Yeah,
he's basically Lawrence Tynes.
Yeah, I'm sure OC's all over it.
Yeah.
Just didn't go to
Lawrence Tynes. Yeah, he's just like he's a Lawrence Tynes clone. I think he was a great option before he got injured. He was being consistently mocked in the top 20. Again, it's just adding to sort of like the wide array of options if we do select to drop back, trade that 7 or 5 to drop back. I think people that know more than we do and our professional scouts might have a good idea of 3 or 4 dudes that'll be contributors right away that will be available in the late 1st or 2nd rounds that would be great. And Colin and I we're talking about it today about how we're liking more and more the idea of trading down with the idea of getting a future first, so we can have the flexibility to make a huge impact move next year if we should need to for the quarterback.
Or even, as you've seen some of my mock drafts too, packaging a bunch of mid to later round picks to do the same thing next year with. That's the vision. Like those kind of situations where you're just moving back a little bit in the third or second or third, and you're grabbing like a third, fourth, and a fifth, and then you can eventually move that and move up somewhere down the line.
Yeah.
This is big picture, forward thinking stuff that I feel like this team has never done. And
Right.
I think it's time. And we have the guys with the brains that would actually have the gall as well to do something like that.
Yeah. And I think
and
this
who
draft
knows?
is well suited for it, right? Because there is like sort of the guys at the very tippy top and then this whole wash of people in the second, third rounds where no one really knows who's going to go where. So it allows you the flexibility to make those future decisions while not sacrificing so much on the front end when things aren't so delineated.
Yep.
I mean, part of me wants to say, trade back both at 5 and 7 and then stockpile for next year because I'm not just simply because I'm not really a Daniel Jones believer. And I think the Giants are probably going to have a high pick next year, but if there is that not first overall quarterback that everybody's into, having the ability to go up and get that guy changes the dynamic of your franchise for a long time, especially if it's a hit, Bengals made the Super Bowl already. It's only Joe Burrow's second season. They have been awful for so long.
And they didn't have an offensive line. Go figure.
Exactly. Because high quality, high tier elite quarterbacks can make things happen without an offensive line or without necessarily. Have you seen Tom Brady do it without skill position players? Maybe not both, but I think one or the other, there is some leeway there. But I think you're right, Dan. If we can accumulate, a lot of seconds and thirds and, have 2-3 first round picks next year, I think that might be the way to go. The way the cap is right now, the Giants are going to have a hard enough time signing their draft picks with, multiple first round picks as it is. So
that's the biggest thing.
Next year, you think, you're out of cap hell. Now you have a lot more ammo to do exactly what you want, especially in a draft this year where we mentioned it a million times, there is no quarterback that you really want to go ahead and go out and get. Necessarily.
I don't mind the idea of knowing that it's a punting to next year's situation too. I mean, there's tons of people in this fan base that would just lose their minds if they seem to think that this draft was a waste in their view of this year. We want to win this year. We're not winning this year. We're growing, and we have to grow over the long term here. And I think you got to give this new regime actual time to build what is needed in their viewpoint anyway. So maybe Mara is giving them the leeway for that. Maybe not. Who knows? But I think we all are in agreement that wouldn't be the worst thing ever if we just know going into the season that any sort of success is going to be probably due to up coaching more than anything else.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just nice to have, some competence to believe in for the future, to the point where that if this year isn't, I don't think this year is going to be anything spectacular, but even if it's less than that, I'm fine if we see year 2 improvement with the new staff. And I think we kind of thought the same thing with Joe Judge as well. And, at some point it comes to a head. At the beginning of the year, last year, we all loved Joe Judge. I forget if it was his second or third year. I don't want to remember all those years. I don't care. But, things change quickly. I'll give you a year.
Yeah.
Life comes at you fast.
In the NFL, way too fast.
Not for a long league.
Anyone else in the later rounds, guys? Linebacker, edge. Anyone else you looking at, Dan? I know you probably got a couple more names to throw out there.
Sure. I don't know. We sort of talked about the first 2 rounds. I'm looking for some other names that I thought were interesting. I feel like one guy that seems like a very much a Wink Martindale guy is Jojo Doman from Nebraska. Do you guys know this dude? He's a little old. I think he's like either 23 or 24. But again, like I think he was a transfer and then COVID happened and all that. But he's like, again, one of those tweener linebacker safety guys. Apparently he is just sort of a classic, like maniac motor guy. I wonder why. Yeah, he's 24. But but he's someone that might be available in the 4th round and be someone that could be a sort of a spark plug with a later pick. Who else? Sam Williams was someone I liked early on, the defensive end from Ole Miss. Great measurable, 6'4", 261, super athletic. I think he had a nice combine, and just a lot of the physical attributes you look for. Again, someone that should be available in 4th, 5th round. I don't know. I got a bunch more. What do you guys have?
I just want to mention a guy like Cameron Thomas, the edge out of San Diego State. A guy who probably should get picked higher, but
Yeah.
I've seen him in the beginning of the 3rd round, and some of the things I've been reading about this guy are kind of impressive. My favorite one was that, a scout had called him bust proof, meaning that, he will at least be a solid starter with the upside to be, an all pro. And
that guy Colin was talking about, the well-rounded.
Drake Jackson. Oh, or Beavers.
No,
yeah.
like another version of Karlaftis.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you can get somebody like that in the 3rd, I mean, I've seen him go higher than that, but I've seen him all over the place. So
yeah, I've definitely seen him there.
Definitely a guy that I would love to target in the later rounds if available, but he might go a lot sooner.
It might be a little on the nose, but you can't ignore the fact that it's a dude from linebacker U, basically, another Wisconsin guy, Jack Sanborn, which we've discussed.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he's looking like 4th or 5th round, depending on what teams feel about him. He's just another guy that's like a tackle machine. I mean, he was a little overshadowed by Leo Chanel.
I was going to mention him actually, but they're both good prospects. I think
I would take either of them. I mean, one guy's going to go in the 2nd or 3rd, and this guy's going to go in the 5th or so. But they're right neck and neck in terms of what they did for their defense, and it's just plug and play kind of guys from Wisconsin.
Are they linebacker U now? Is that who used to be the old linebacker?
Penn State.
U?
Penn State, which they've kind of gotten away from it. There's been more people drafted out of Wisconsin consistently as of recent.
Penn State got away from a lot of things.
Yeah, well, ethics mostly, but yeah, I like him. I don't know why I got stuck in this hole of trying to find the biggest defensive tackles in the later rounds as possible.
That's a great hole to get into.
I have 3 names right
Give
now
them to
that I
me.
feel like would just be
real
fun. Noah Ellis from Idaho.
What makes him huge?
You can just give me some measurements.
Okay, yeah, he is. I mean, when you say imposing space eater is the first 3 words that
6'4", 346.
Yeah.
Oh my lord, the big
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, it's just
imposing space eater.
like
More
I don't even
space
really.
eaters.
What size and power give interior blockers a problem. Brute force bully at point of attack. Gobbles the gaps against lesser competition. That's poetry.
Gobbles
Right there.
the gap. What are you reading this on?
Oh, this is NFL.com.
Love that.
Easy bench press power to extend and separate from blocks. Active hands. I love that. Active hands.
It's just like, as opposed to like a guy that's just like river dancing.
Prone hands.
It's like-
But yeah, like guys like that is just and the other one, Marquand McCall from Kentucky, 6'3", 342. Basically the same kind of character. He's just one of those guys that are just gonna heavy nose tackle who is more space eater than dominant player in the middle of the defense.
Space eater.
I don't know.
You're
I
saying
just
space heater.
I know.
space eater.
It's eater.
Yeah.
Space eater sounds like something from Dune. The space eaters are
Oh
coming.
yeah.
But yeah,
Space.
that's and there was some edge rushers later on too that were kind
Our
of
favorite edge
interesting.
rusher in the last round,
Which-
Isaiah Thomas.
Oh yeah, of course.
From
Well, just by the
Oklahoma.
name. That's when we start drafting people by name. That's just
No, he's a buzzy guy.
I
He's a-
mean,
he's a-
you got like Kingsley in Inagbare.
he's a second rounder from
Well,
South
I've
Carolina.
seen him go anywhere from 2nd to the 4th, depending on who's
I haven't
talking
seen him fall
about
that
him.
far. Yeah.
But yeah, I don't.
Boy,
I feel like
Mafi.
who?
Boye Mafi.
Oh, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's I mean, yeah, I guess that's a fun way to go about it, Colin. Just look for the people with insane physical attributes when you get to this late. Like what do we know?
and develop them. I mean, it's projects when it comes down to it. It's a crapshoot. And if you got coaching that feel that you can mold some of these physical freaks into, a good professional football player, then have at it. You're not taking that much of a risk drafting the 5th and on,
Yeah.
Agreed. Anything else tonight, guys?
I don't know. We could just keep.
You could keep rating names of guys you like, but
just like clips I saw. I saw one clip of this guy. It looked cool. Like we should draft him.
Yeah.
But who cares?
The hell do we know?
Well, enough to have a podcast, I guess.
Yep.
Thanks for listening tonight, guys. Rest in peace, Dwayne Haskins. Follow Big Blue United on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. BBU Podboys with the Z on Twitter. Pigskin Podcast Network on Twitter. Download that DraftKings app. Use promo code TPPN. Don't forget to check out Wilson, brand new tailgate line of men in fashion. Thanks for listening. Have a good night.
See ya.